Suit up, strap in, warm the tires, and leave on yellow. Time for the MitsuTimes podcast, presented by MitsuTimes.org, the home of the fastest Mitsubishi cars. With your host, Josh.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Josh of MitsuTimes. Today my guest is Mickel Rosado. He has a 6-second Eclipse. It's a 2G body. How you doing today, Mickel?
Pretty good yourself.
I'm great, man. I've been watching your car for quite a while. I love to see what you're doing with it, so I love that I get a chance to talk to you about it.
Thank you.
So why don't you tell us about the setup on it?
That's a currently full tube chassis made by MPH Fabrication in Connecticut. It's currently running a bullet block, hypertune intake. It's running currently a 91 millimeter turbo. Best ET on that thing with a small turbo. I was running an 86, 85 little turbo T04. 80 pounds was running at 680s, 680. Used to stay there consistent. Has a G-Force 2000. Has adjustable clutch. 32 14 and a half tires. Thing's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Car is pretty awesome.
It's a pretty serious car.
It is. It has so much in it that I just started playing with it again. I had put it away for a little bit because I have currently a little Toyota Starlet rotary that I put my daughter to drive, and it took a lot of time from me.
Gotcha.
So I currently took it off the jack stands, took it off the garage. Took it off the trailer, and I put it in the car back in the garage. So I'm back at it.
Heck yeah. So what made you build this car?
What made me build this car was I'm currently a rotary guy. Did rotary for 20 years.
Yeah.
One day my brother had a Hyundai Elantra 4-door, and those things bring the same Mitsubishi 1.8 motor, and we decided to buy a Talon motor and put it in there.
Okay.
And it did pretty good. It ran like 10 O's on a front wheel drive. And then I just started, sneaking my way into the 4G63 world, and I was looking for a body. I was looking for a right car to put in, and I ended up buying the 2G from my best friend that was building it, and he passed away. He couldn't finish the project, so I ended up finished the car and started racing it.
Okay.
4G63 is a pretty good motor, but as far as we all know, when you start running factory, past blocks have their limits, and that's why I decided to go with the bullet blocks.
Gotcha.
So I became dealer number 1 for Bullet over here in Orlando, Florida, to sell these motors, and I purchased 2 of them, put one in the car, and put a spare aside. So.
Okay. So you kind of got that started.
Yes, I was the one that got all these guys. PJ Performance, I sent him a block. Me and him are very good friends.
Awesome.
We share information back and forth. The only thing is that he's been going to the track more lately and doing his stuff, and I was put away for a little bit, but I'm back at it right now.
Heck yeah. And those guys are flying right now. They're knocking on number 1's door.
Yep. They're running 6.3s, and it's like we all know that you need the right body or right car to run pretty fast. My car is capable of running those numbers, but I'm currently building a brand new car in Puerto Rico.
Oh, okay.
Pro mod car. If the Hondas could do it, 4G63 World can do it too.
Absolutely. I love that.
Yeah.
So, Mickel, I've always wondered, I think there's a lot of people out there wondering the same thing. How much of the body is still factory?
Quarter panels are factory. The roof is factory. The doors is factory. The only thing that car has, fiberglass, is just the nose.
Wow. That's
I am a truly factory car. It's not like the Demon, like the red Demon that all those cars have. Carbon fiber, front doors, rear, hatch, everything. My car is true steel.
Okay. That's so cool.
Yeah, and the car, like I tell you, it has so much potential. Right now it's on the heavy side. It weighs 2250 with me in it.
Man, that's crazy that that's the heavy side.
Yeah, yeah.
So, what was this car like when you first started building it? What did you start with?
When I bought the car barely didn't have a nose. The car did not have the interior aluminum carbon fiber tubs, and none of that stuff was done. I pretty much bought a shell, a chassis shell. Ended up putting rims, the rear end, struts, mocking up the motor, doing the interiors, the aluminum, the carbon fiber tubs, basically windows, basically finishing it, to make it come alive.
Gotcha.
And it was took a little bit of time. It took me 7 years to finish it, but I finished it.
What do you remember? What year it was when you finished it? I feel like I remember seeing the car like 2013 for the first time.
It was 2013, 2012.
Okay.
I purchased a car in 2007. It took me, 7, 8, 9, 10, to 13 to finish it.
Okay, cool. So, thinking back then, did you have an original goal in mind? Like, were you like, hey, I'm going to run sevens with this?
Well, my goal with that car when I put it together was my bucket, from my bucket list was to be the first 4G63 in Orlando, Florida residents to run the 6 seconds.
Okay.
And I did it.
Heck yeah.
I did it.
That's awesome.
Running the 7 seconds wasn't the least of my worries,
Yeah.
I ran 7.3, 7.2, 7.0.
It seemed like you were in the sevens for a long time.
Yeah, because, when it was a new car, I'll be honest with you, I'm the only guy that does all the mechanic work, all the programming, all the tuning, plus I drive it. So it's not easy to do when it's a one-team guy,
Yeah, for sure. So, Mickel, all those years, you must have had so many different setups in this thing. You want to talk about any setups in particular that made it broke you into the sevens, maybe broke you into the sixes?
Yep. First setup I had a, let's say piece of shit eBay motor, rods, pistons off the shelf.
Yeah.
Regular 272 cams. Started with maybe built myself intake. Bold Wagner little 80 millimeter turbo. My guy that I used to follow was, Brett Rowell. He was the one that encouraged me to, I knew the guy personally because I lived in Connecticut and New Jersey all those years. I'm currently resident in Orlando for the last 17 years, but I lived in, Connecticut. And, I used to follow Brett Rowell, all those NHRA, over there, what they call it, Fall Nationals, English Town, all those big events.
Yeah.
And, I actually bought, to be honest with you, when I started breaking stuff from eBay that really, gave me, headaches, I actually bought, nobody knew this, but I actually bought the best setup from Brent Rowell.
Okay.
I got with him. He sold me rods, pistons, turbos, and I was able to get into the 7.5s and 7.4s with his setup. You know what I mean? He proved that he opened the doors for a lot of people saying, hey, if I could run 80 pounds of boost, anybody could do it.
Right, for sure.
And, little by little, I started breaking pistons, and I did all my research, started getting better pistons, better rods. As you develop, through the setup, you start changing different cams, different turbocharges, turbocharge. Car used to be Microtech. I switched it to FuTech. I had a couple setups there that, throughout racing, days I changed. It made it better.
Okay. So, and you know, Mickel, when you talk about how Brent was talking about running 80 psi, I think back to what we had available at that time. He was running 80 psi on a cast block.
Yes, he was. Cast block. I think even cast crank. I mean, a factory crank.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but I would have said if he would have still in the game, he never hold up to his word when he made that video. Never gave up. He was the first one that gave up. I hate to say this, but it's true. But if he would have still been in the game, he would have been the fastest guy. 4G60. He would have been the god of the 4G63.
For sure. Knocking on fives, probably.
Oh yeah. So it's just he probably did it for a lot of years. Got tired of it. Family comes first, and
Yeah.
he retired.
This episode of the MitsuTimes podcast is brought to you by Hockman Fabrication and Speed. They offer custom fabrication, welding, and exhaust services. Their specialized team of professionals has over 40 years of combined experience in the automotive industry, dedicated to providing their customers with top-notch quality service they can depend on. Their customers always rave about their excellent service and attention to detail. That's why they have received top customer reviews time and time again, offering top-tier certified chassis and roll cage work and fabrication on any make and model. From classic cars to off-road vehicles to hypercars, they have experience and know-how to get the job done right. Contact them today to learn more about their services or to get started on your next project. Facebook and Instagram at Hockman Fabrication and Speed or HockmanFabricationspeed.com. So I wanted to talk about your setup. The setup that you first broke into the sixes, is it the same setup that you run now?
The setup that I work into the six is the same setup I have now.
Okay.
The only difference between the 680 setup and the setup I have now is that I ran 680s with an 86, 85 TO4 little turbo. I have not yet tested the potential of this new 91 millimeter precision turbo. I went out one time and had clutch issues. Went out a couple times, had lifter issues, rockers falling out. And, it just took a toll into, what, I just got to step back and take a break and start fresh later on,
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. I mean, I think we've all been there where it's just so frustrating that you just want to, burn the car to the ground.
Yeah. So, instead of taking it out in the car, I put it away for a little bit. It was out of maybe a year and a half, maybe give or take. I don't know. Been a couple times. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. I haven't played with it. I tried taking it out to run the slower class a couple months back, but even then I had valve issues and put it away.
So, I think back to the 2020 when you broke into the sixes for the first time. Can you think of any changes that were made that finally got this car over the hump into the sixes?
Yep. I went with the Kenford cams as the huge big 301 or 290 something cams. Before running the sixes, I was running a regular McLeod clutch that kept on breaking on me. I went to adjustable clutch. And to be honest with you, that night at the track, I was like, you know what? Are you going to go or are you going to blow? I just gave it everything it had. 80 pounds of I just wanted to see the turbo blow the fuck up. And I was like, it held on. If you see the video, the thing was on a ride.
Absolutely. Yes, it was.
And all it takes is one good pass, and you got all this data, And I just started working it from there, from that data. And I went to a bigger turbo, and I'm yet to see my potential in this car yet. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
It's coming out, so you'll see.
Awesome. Mickel, that leads me perfectly into my next question of what does the future of this car hold? Because I know, we talked a couple weeks ago before we started setting up this podcast, and you were unsure, selling it to a new owner. So what does the future hold for this car?
Well, I have a couple guys that if the car runs 630s, 640s, I have a couple guys that want it. Um, we shall see. That's in the air. Like I'm telling you, I'm currently building a brand new car.
Right.
To run with the big boys. Run with the big boys, you need a badass car. You need a car that'll hold anything that you throw at it. Um, right now, that's in the air right now. I really want to put it back together, and my goal is to run 6.5, 6.4 before if I ever sell it.
Awesome.
But I know it's going to take a lot of work, but I can do it. I have a lot of people on board helping me. Kigley, my number one sponsor. I got Kenford Cams. I got local guys, local shops they're all on board. And I got Bullet Racing, they're on board.
Heck yeah, man.
And I got a bunch of guys that say, let's do this. You know what I mean? So that's why it's giving me more momentum to get the car back out.
I love that. So what is it behind, what is it that's pushing you along to get this momentum going to get you into the 6.4 or the 6.3 that you're aiming for?
Well, you see these guys running pretty fast. PJ running 6.3. You got No War running 5.8. At the end of the day, is you spend all this money going to the racetrack, and you want to be in the line of fire with all these fast guys.
Yeah.
It's not worth to me anymore just to build a car and just go out and have fun. Now you have to start being competitive.
Yep, for sure.
You don't be competitive, it ain't no sense of just going back out there, just being a fool,
Definitely. Especially, like you were talking about, Mickel, with when you're aiming for the big events, World Cup finals, Sport Compact finals, you have to go out there and you have to be competitive.
You have to be competitive. At the end of the day, it's not worth going to those events if you don't have a car to show for.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. So Mickel, let's just talk about 2023. What is your goal for 2023 with this car?
My goal for 2023 right now, we're putting a fresh motor in it. The motor that's in it's coming back out and it's getting refreshed. And having a clutch guy helping me out with the clutch and pushing the turbo to the fullest potential. There's no secret. To run 6.3, 6.2, you need 100 pounds of boost. 115 pounds of boost. And my goal is that, to be in there with those guys. I have a lot of people that car runs 6.4, 6.3. They want to take me to Aruba, even Australia.
Yeah.
But the car has to be fast,
Yeah, for sure.
That's my goal.
Man, I absolutely love that. That's my favorite answer I've ever had on this podcast, Mickel. Thank you.
Yes, that's my goal. And you know what, too? I like I say to all the 4G63 guys out there. My car is an open book. I have no secrets. You need what cams it runs, what rods it runs, what pistons it runs, what boost it runs. I'm all open book.
Love it.
If I can help the next guy over, I don't care if they're faster than me, but we all have to help each other.
Absolutely. And Mickel, to kind of go back to what you were saying earlier, the only way that the Mitsubishi community is going to be at the top is if we work together and stop gatekeeping.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we kind of already talked about your background in Mitsubishi cars, so I'm gonna go past that question. But I want to talk about, Mickel, I'd like to talk about the hypothetical of the list. Do you foresee in the future PJ Muffler beating the Jet Racing car?
Well, let me be honest with you. The difference between those two cars is, let's be real. Um, Jet has more potential in running the fives faster than PJ. The reason for those guys put a two turbo compound setup in the less of than 8 months when the car came out.
Yeah.
They were already running 620s. Jet car is it's a more, let's say, it's not a more better built car, but the technology is there. You know what I mean? They have their own clutch guy. They have their own tune guy. Let's be real. The owner of the guy has infinity money. You
Yeah.
know,
That's
it,
very,
it,
very
it,
true.
is whatever it is. You know, my hat goes out to these PJ guys because they're from a little island called Puerto Rico, and you know how that shit is. You know, it's you hold your own. You have to make what they say gold with a little bit of stuff that you have.
Yeah,
And those guys are really doing a good job. You know,
for
I
sure.
hope that later on, you know, they probably think of probably getting a better body, a longer body. You know, my car is longer. DJ's car is almost stock wheelbase. You know what I mean? You could
Wow.
tell. You know, shorter. So you know, it's just man. You know, that's something that we'll see. You know, because Jet Racing hasn't been out too many times. You know,
Right. Yeah. I
you
asked him
know.
before. He said the car's not retired, but he doesn't want to race it all the time.
No, he don't. He has a lot on his plate. You know, he's having more fun with the Mustang, I think.
Right. Yeah. Got a nice Mustang race car now.
Yeah,
So,
but yeah,
Mikhail, what events can we hopefully see your car in action this year?
I'm going to all of them.
Good.
I'm going to all of them, starting from February all the way to the end of the year. The car runs pretty good and it gives me, you know, a lot of um, momentum. I'll probably even go to Maryland.
Awesome. Yes, that's what we love to hear.
Yeah.
We need some more representation out there.
Oh yeah. I
So,
need more sponsors too.
hey, hit up Mickel.
Yep.
Get behind him because he's going to the top of the list. He's going to fight his way there.
Oh yeah.
So where can people see your car on social media and YouTube and all that stuff?
Well, you know, as far as social media, I'm not really big into that. You know, you can find me all on my Facebook page. I put all my pictures and builds and everything there. I think I have a small page called Mikey Eclipse on Facebook.
Okay.
Um, on YouTube, you know, since the car is called El Gallo. El Gallo is a nickname that was my father's nickname. And when he passed away, I decided to put, you know, El Gallo to my race car. That means, you know, the rooster.
Oh, okay.
So if you could type in El Gallo Eclipse on YouTube, you'll see a bunch of race, you know, videos, you know, a lot of stuff.
That's awesome. Well, Mickel, I always give people a chance to give a shout out or a thank you to anybody who's helped them along the way, helped get their car where it is. Is there anybody that you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Tito Chassis. He's always helped me out, you know. Yeah, my family that's always been by my side, you know. You know, and right now it's Kigley Racing, Kenford Cams, PCS, UTEC, Bullet Racing, all those guys. If it wasn't for them, you know. Pepe Loco Technology, he's my buddy. He's always helped me out.
Thank you.
So,
Well, Mickel, I want to say thank you for coming on here and sharing your story. I cannot wait to see what you got in store for 2023. I'm going to be glued, and I hope to catch you in action at all the events this year.
thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on here, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.
Thank you, boss. You guys take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the MitsuTimes podcast. Check out our Instagram and Facebook for daily updates. Get added to our list by going to MitsuTimes.org and clicking Submit a Slip. Thank you to all of our sponsors.